Hey, what's up guys? Today I'm going to explain how to escape the spiral of chaos. This basically means whenever you are in confidence or you are in a calm, confident, relaxed state and within seconds you literally become the most stressed individual in the world, or you suddenly get huge anxiety, you get huge fear, that in my opinion is chaos. I'm going to explain how you can escape this. Here's how most chaos happens. So basically you have two minds, a conscious mind and a subconscious mind. The conscious mind is kind of the thing which you are mostly aware of, and the subconscious mind is the thing that takes care of most of your actual actions. So this is like the habits you have, the beliefs you have, the kind of actions you take which are so automatic that you could not even do them with your conscious mind. So like breathing is subconscious, speaking is subconscious. Your subconscious takes care of a lot. And what happens with chaos is you feel good. So usually feelings arise from your subconscious. And because the subconscious understands feelings and the conscious understands words. So what happens is whenever you feel confident and calm, your subconscious is doing well and your conscious is doing well. What happens is you get a thought, and this can be like, I don't know, from someone else, or it can be from your own mind. Something that pops up in your immediate environment or inside of your thoughts. That's probably the best explanation. So something in your environment or your thoughts pops up, and that is negative, or that could be perceived as negative. What happens then is, because you are not aware of what actually happens, is your subconscious immediately accepts this, and it starts going into fight or flight mode. It starts becoming incredibly chaotic. So I have a framework that I pretty much came up with yesterday that really helped me out a lot. I really love doing these things. So I'm going to basically explain to you how you can prevent this from happening, and the key lies in controlling the conscious. Because controlling the subconscious, I haven't found like a direct way to do that yet. Maybe I will, but the conscious mind is much more easy. So we have to prevent the conscious from sending danger messages to the subconscious. That's kind of how this process works. So the secret is in being the gatekeeper. So as I just explained, a thought usually arises in the conscious. So let's just call this A. A thought arises in A. Then when it's passed through to B, then it becomes chaos, depending on how good the thought is, of course. You can also liken this to a temple. So let's say that the subconscious is like a temple, a really beautiful temple, and I really can't draw on these things. And the conscious is going to be, for example, a thief, or it can be like a really nice person, or it can be like a thief that is looking to steal something in the temple. What you have to do, because you are not even your thoughts, is you have to be the gatekeeper that prevents the thief from going into the temple and stealing, for example, the treasure. And if there's a nice person, you also need to be able to let them in. So you can't just let everyone in, because then you also let the thief in. But if there's like a nice person, then you're like, oh yeah, of course you can come into the temple. But the thief cannot come into the temple. So I'm going to show you some practical, really cool, amazing, pretty life-changing tips. So first, observe every thought before you accept them. So like I said, whenever there's a guest towards which wants to enter your temple, observe them. Doesn't matter if it's positive or negative or neutral. It doesn't matter. Just observe them. And this applies obviously to thoughts. So whenever you think like this is a really stupid video, if you think that, I'm sorry, but it's probably not you that thinks that. But if that happens, what you want to do is first observe the thought. So if you think this is a stupid video, first look at it. It's like, do I want this in my temple? Do I want this in my temple? And if you don't want it in your temple, then you can reject it. I'm going to show you some ways in a second on how you can do that. But the important thing is that you separate yourself from your thoughts at all times. Because if you don't do this, then undoubtedly something is going to happen and you're not aware. You are kind of sleeping as the gatekeeper, and a negative thought will enter your temple, and then it's going to be fucked. So you have to separate yourself from your thoughts at all times. You cannot become the thief. You cannot become the nice guest. You have to become the gatekeeper. Okay? How do you do that? Well, by not identifying with your thoughts. So the key to separating yourself from your thoughts is by not identifying with them. Because if I say to you that I have this thing and it's not yours and it's not mine, it just exists, then you're like, okay, well, I don't really care as much about it. So for example, you probably care a lot about your phone because you call it your phone. But you probably don't care a lot about your friend's phone because it's not your phone. You don't identify with it. Just really basic example. So a couple of techniques. The first one is watch them and let them pass by. So one really useful motto I use is just seeing thoughts as clouds, and whenever they arise, I just send them to the right. And this for me means I ignore you. I have another example of this in a second. But you will kind of want to watch these thoughts like clouds slowly passing by. And they will pass by with time. That's the cool thing about them. They will pass by with time. If you see them like clouds, they will go. Then treat them like paintings is another really good one. So what I mean with this is, let's say that you have a negative thought. Then just treat it like a really ugly painting. And then what you can do, if you don't like the painting in the exhibition, is you just go to another painting in the same room, or you go to another room where there's more pleasurable paintings. So you go like to the beautiful painting rooms. And I'm not really that great of an artist yet, but you just go to another room and you observe the other paintings. It's like, oh, I'm not good enough. Let me just go to another room where there's a painting where it shows that I am good enough, because I'm sure that you can find examples where you are good enough. So this is a really fun one to try out and just experiment with. Treat them like a crazy child. So this is one I tried yesterday. Just imagine that your thoughts are like a child, basically like rambling about. Then what you can do is just literally treat them like that. So don't take them too seriously, kind of even make a bit of fun with it. It might sound really crazy, but when you try this out, you will see how brilliantly this works. But my all-time favorite is just ignore the thoughts. All-time favorite. Because when you do this, even if you ignore good thoughts, which I recommend you do in the beginning, you'll start to build this pattern of actually getting control. Because whenever thoughts arise, what you do normally is just immediately accept them, and they immediately enter your temple, and whatever the thought is going to become reality, whether it's negative, positive, neutral. But if you ignore every thought, then nothing is going to come into your temple. So you're going to have a very stable reality. And this is how you can start to notice, hey, this actually works. I'm actually starting to gain some serious control over what is entering my temple and actually coming into my life. Because I could probably make a video about this, but like the stuff that enters your subconscious or your temple, that's the stuff that's going to create your entire reality. So you have to be very aware of what goes into the temple. And I really like the example of the temple, by the way, in case you didn't notice. So you want to ignore every thought. Do this for like 10 to 20 minutes, and that's usually called meditation. So just ignoring your thoughts. It's like, hey, this thought comes up, I don't care. Hey, this thought comes up, I don't care. And the more that you do this, eventually you're going to start building this kind of pattern of every thought is going to be ignored unless it's absolutely necessary. Because you will see that most thoughts are not really that necessary anyway. So this is a really effective framework until you have control over them. I really love this one. Okay, anyway, if you keep forgetting to like not identify with your thoughts, and if you keep forgetting to like be the gatekeeper and not be the actual guests in the temple, or sorry, that haven't yet entered the temple, first of all, you can change your environment. So what I personally notice is when you are like in the same environment, then sometimes you become a bit lazy and you stop paying attention as much to what is going on. And this means that you become less aware. You start like going straight into the temple. For example, you might like work and then go to the bathroom, and then you forgot why you were even in the bathroom, or you forgot what you were even doing on the laptop, for example. That's how crazy this stuff is. Another one is changing your actions. For example, change your routine. If you usually work in the mornings and do like other stuff in the evenings, change it around. Work in the evenings, do other stuff in the mornings. This is completely up to you. I use another technique, but this can work as well. Just change stuff up. If you, for example, like to work out in the morning and then just work out in the afternoon. It doesn't even have to be like a complete 180. You can also just work out like an hour later just to break a little bit of this solid routine. And my favorite of all time is speed. So whenever you feel that something is entering your temple and you're not having control over it, you feel like your gatekeeper is just sleeping. Whenever you feel like that, then my favorite strategy is to actually just slow down. So when you do something, just do it with 0.5x speed. Do it with 0.75x speed. Literally think of yourself like a character in a game and slow down your speed in whatever you're doing. Because this is a conscious process. when you slow down, you actually have to like think about what you're doing. For example, if I were to speak really slowly now, then I am going to think much more about what I'm actually going to say in the next few moments. But if I actually speed up, then it's much more subconscious, because I could never really do this consciously because it's so fast. Hope you see the point. Anyway, these were some of my favorite techniques for controlling chaos and preventing thieves from entering the temple of the subconscious. So I hope you enjoyed it. Looking forward to seeing the next one. And by the way, there's a free course in the description if you want to check it out. It's nothing to sell you, so just free. Hope you enjoyed it.